Hey guys, the patch that finally brings Vikendi to the Xbox One and PS4 versions of PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is finally arriving tomorrow, January 22nd, and it should be playable after 2 a.m. Pacific time. Like I said, this update includes Vikendi, the Survivor Pass for Vikendi, a new vehicle, some new weapons, along with many quality of life and bug fixes. There's also a lot of other things going on in this patch, so I want to go over everything for you here today. Buckle in, it's going to be a pretty long one I imagine, but I'm going to pretty much go over everything except for some of the bugs because there are so many, it would just make the video 20 minutes long. So let's start off with the maintenance schedule for this patch. January 22nd from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. Pacific time, the servers will be down so you can't play on the live servers at that time, but afterwards you will be able to log in and play this patch. We'll start off with some quality of life fixes. Players can now further magnify the minimap, and it will just basically enhance the minimap for you to make it larger so you can see more area. Player order between the lobby and in-game is now consistent so that players will have a fixed number and color based on the lobby order when they entered the game. They added a field of view slider for first-person perspective mode, and you can change this in the settings. On the test server, I bumped this all the way up, and let me tell you, it just made a huge difference for FPP, and I definitely want to play more first-person perspective games now that we have this slider. It makes you take a step back from the gun a little bit, gives you a little bit more area that you can view, and just makes the game way better looking overall in my opinion. And they also added a graphical settings option for the Xbox One X version of the game. I didn't see anything mentioned about the PS4 Pro, so I don't know if that's something that's coming in the future, but on Xbox One X you can set your graphical options to favor performance, so better frame rates and things like that, or favor visuals, where you'll be playing at 4K. Now, in case you haven't played Vikendi on the PTS and you don't know much about it, I'll go over some of the things here that they list. So Vikendi is the new snow map. It's a 6x6 kilometer map. The gameplay of Vikendi is quicker than Erangel and Miramar, but offers an arguably more tactical experience than Sanhok. Players can throw snowballs while waiting to board the plane in the starting area. Vehicles will be more slippery in snow or icy areas. Acceleration on icy terrain is slow, and you lose more general vehicle control as you speed up. Footprints and vehicle tracks will appear as players travel in the snow-covered areas, so keep an eye out. These are great to help identify if enemies have passed by recently. Keep in mind though that the footprints and tracks in the snow don't stay around forever. And this is a pretty cool feature of this map. It's really unique, something that they probably could implement on Miramar if they wanted to eventually, but you can actually track people in the snow and see if they've been in that area recently. The red zone is slightly changed on Vikendi as well. The center of the red zone spawns outside of the play zone at times. The smaller the play zone, the smaller the red zone, so just a little bit different than the other maps. The blue zone also has some changes. The first circle of every game is much smaller than the other maps, but subsequent circle sizes change less drastically. This facilitates more blue zone variety and unique experiences. Basically what I think it does is it kind of slows down the mid game because you don't have to move as much. Whether or not that's a good thing, that's probably up to your opinion. Similar strategies work on Vikendi to Erangel and Miramar for the first 3 phases, but the zones will close slower starting from phase 4, similar to Sanhok. They feel this leads to a good balance between strategy and gunplay throughout the duration of each match. The overall item spawn rate is at a midpoint between our maps, offering a unique place between the spawn rates of Erangel and Sanhok. Level 3 helmets spawn in the world, level 3 vests spawn more often than other maps, and smoke grenades are spawned at a higher rate compared to the other throwables. I think for sure that the level 3 helmets spawning on this map really just has to do with the Vikendi pass because there's some level 3 helmet skins and they want people to be able to see those. There's really no real reason that level 3 helmets need to be back in the loot pool like they were before they got moved to the care package only. A lot of PC players are really confused and actually don't like this a lot. It pretty much nerfs the bolt action sniper rifles because usually those headshots would knock a player or kill them, but now that everybody basically in the late game has a level 3 helmet it seems, it pretty much lessens the effectiveness of those guns in the match compared to some others. I'll quickly go over some of the Survivor Pass stuff for Vikendi. I have a video on this, so I'll put an annotation in the top right portion of the screen right now. If you want to know my opinions on the pass and whether or not I think I'm going to be buying it and what's all included, definitely check that out. I'm just going to skim over some of this stuff since I've already covered it. So the duration of the pass this time is 10 weeks compared to the 4 weeks that we have with Sanhok. Players will complete missions and challenges to receive rewards and XP to level up. You can go through 100 levels on this pass compared to 30 that was on Sanhok. Basically, if you don't buy the pass, you won't be getting that many things. You won't get that many cosmetic items, but if you do buy the pass, you'll have a chance to get quite a few. But just a fair warning, some of these missions, if we get the same ones that the PC has, some of these missions are pretty dumb and they don't seem like they're going to be a good time, and they don't seem like they're going to actually be completed with normal gameplay. You're just going to have to go out there and just try and complete these missions and just forget about the match at certain points of the game if you actually want to complete these missions and get the XP. But like I said, I have a whole video on that where I rant over it, so I don't want to get back into it here because, you know, I could go on forever about it. On January 22nd, the existing supply system will be integrated with the Survivor Pass for Vikendi. The supply system will be available in the Survivor Pass menu. So basically the daily challenges will be in the Vikendi Pass, and you'll be getting XP for that instead of using the Survivor system. So if you've been grinding to try and get a really high Survivor rank, it looks like that's actually going to be reset. Existing survival rewards systems will be closed on January 22nd, 2019, and all existing supply missions and levels will reset. So there's a couple new weapons. One is on all maps and one is just on Vikendi. The Scorpion is a new handgun sidearm and it spawns on all maps. It has single fire and full auto, uses 9mm ammo, can load up to 20 bullets and 40 with an extended. It takes a red dot, a muzzle suppressor, a lower rail vertical grip or half grip, a light grip or a laser sight. It takes a stock for the micro Uzi, and it takes an extended magazine only for the pistol. This thing can be deadly up close if you have it fully decked out. Of course, it's not going to outbattle a UMP or a Vector or something like that probably, but in a pinch, this thing can help you out a lot. The G36C is a new AR that spawns only on Vikendi, and it actually replaces the Scar on that map. So the Scar is kind of the redheaded stepchild of PUBG, it seems like. It's my favorite weapon in the game, so it's really unfortunate. On Sanhok, it's replaced by the QBZ, and on Vikendi, it's replaced by the G36C. But much like the Scar, it can take just about the same amount of attachments. It has similar performance as well. But I do like this gun a lot, so if I find a G36C on Vikendi, I will be happy with that. There's a new vehicle, the Snowmobile. The Snowmobile only spawns on Vikendi, obviously, because it's for snow and that's the only snow map. It seats 2 players and performs much better than other vehicles on snow and ice, but it is more difficult to drive on other terrain. Here's another big change to the game with this patch. The server you join and the region will now be decided automatically depending on the player's local region. And if you group up with a player from another region, matchmaking will automatically decide the best region to play on. So the region select button at the right bottom side of the screen will now disappear. But I think overall for the game, this is definitely going to be a plus. It's going to force people in those regions to play on their regions, which hopefully will make the player counts higher, and it's going to alleviate some of the desync that we have, because a lot of the desync that you're seeing is you're playing people with high ping compared to what you see. There's a new survival title system, which is currently in beta, but it's going to be added to the Xbox and PS4 versions of the game. Now I'm going to do a separate video on this because there's a whole lot to get into on that, so keep an eye out for that. I should be able to upload that pretty quickly, but I'm going to just make a separate video for this instead of wasting more time on the patch here. But basically it's just a ranking system, and it rewards you for playing the game. It doesn't necessarily reward you for being the best player out there. If you play the game quite a bit, you can get a high rank no matter what, as long as you're surviving and just doing, certain things in the match. But it's a ranking system at least, and it is a way to show your dedication to the game. There's some changes to the map selection. Map selection has changed with the addition of Vikendi. You can select Vikendi or select others, Erangel, Miramar, and Sanhok to play. So it's either Vikendi by itself or the other 3. Or you can press Quick Join, and that's going to put you on the first map available, no matter which map it is. There's also a Play Menu UI renewal with this patch. They improved the map and game mode selection interface. Additional queuing information is now displayed for the selected match type. If the matching pool in your region has sufficient players for healthy matchmaking, the expected wait time will be displayed for the selected match type. So at least that's something. It'll let you know just how long you probably will be waiting. When there's not enough players in the pool, instead of showing you the time, it'll show you the number of players that are waiting instead. And this kind of answers some of the questions I had above about some of the region lock stuff. When the concurrent player count for a region is too low to start games consistently in a particular mode, those players will be redirected to their next closest region instead. A message will alert players when this is happening and to expect higher ping than local servers. Let me go over some of the gameplay features here. They added an auto reload option. When enabled, you will reload weapons automatically when you try to fire when your magazine is empty. By default, this is set to off in the settings, but you can change them in the gameplay menu. They made another change to the forward running sensitivity by maxing it out from 50 to 100. They improved the sound settings and options. The sound settings are now separated into master volume, effects volume, UI volume, and music volume. Alright, and here's a really big change to this patch that we had no time to test on the PTS. They didn't give this to us at all. It's something that was just recently added to the PC game, so I was wondering when we were going to get it, but the parachute system Overhaul is coming with this patch as well. Tapping the left stick now puts you into a dive at full speed straight down towards the ground. Turning speed is now much faster and has increased control, responsiveness, and precision. While parachuting, they added new freefall animations and increased overall control and responsiveness. Tapping the left stick helps you drop faster and land quicker. Pulling the left stick backwards lets you glide when you want to travel for a longer distance. And you can now cut your parachute while relatively close to the ground by pressing B and while still moving through the air. There's new landing animations as well. The speed in which you land will matter, and it's going to affect the landing animation that you have. You can land and be at a full sprint, or you can land and have to do a roll. It just depends on how fast you are going at landing. Colliding with buildings or objects will cut your parachute automatically, so be careful with that. And the parachute no longer disappears instantly after landing, giving you an opportunity to see exactly where people landed. The visuals of the blood particles when players are shot will look better, and they've also improved the blood effects that appear on the screen when being shot by other players. They slightly decreased the maximum number of shots possible to fire per second with the M16A4, and that's not really going to be that big of an issue for Xbox, I don't imagine, except for some of you keyboard and mouse players out there. They adjusted the sight position to be closer to the muzzle for some weapons. In a future update, we'll be adding a new attachment which will require this new sight position, so we've made the change in advance to help players adjust to the change. This is going to be for the canted sights where you can have one long scope and one short scope, and you can switch in between those, so they put the main scope further down the barrel so that you can actually be able to use that canted scope in the future. And players will now receive damage from Molotovs that hit their vehicle. A couple UI and user experience changes here. The controller guide can now be seen from the lobby from the settings. They changed the overall lobby theme in celebration of our latest map, Vikendi. They combined the career and leaderboard menu and statistics into a season menu. Let's get into some important performance issues as well. They improved the client performance by optimizing the creation of character materials. They improved performance by mitigating an issue causing thin objects to flicker. They optimized particles in rainy weather. Adjusted the parachute and character sync rate depending on the distance to improve server performance. They improved the items and skins to look smoother on preview. They optimized rendering method on vegetation to improve performance, and optimized object creation to improve CPU performance. You can now report players in event mode. You press Y to report the killer, but you cannot report the same player more than once in one game. Alright, and let's get into the bug fixes. Now I'm only going to call out a few of these. If you want to check out the full list of bugs, just go ahead and click the link in the description below. There are 69 bugs, and I think I counted those right. So I'm not going to go over every single one. I'm just going to call out a few that I think are important. They fixed an issue where players could sometimes climb stairs much faster while moving diagonally next to the wall. They fixed an issue where down players' character model would sometimes penetrate walls. There's a couple bug fixes here where it looks like players were sliding when doing certain movements. They fixed an issue where characters would look headless when using a heal or a boost while in prone or while in a vehicle in first-person perspective. I saw this for myself the other day, so they fixed that. They fixed an issue where a player would sometimes clip through the floor of a building when disembarking a motorcycle. They fixed an issue causing a character to be headless when wearing certain skins. I wonder what skins those were. They fixed an issue where players couldn't loot some items such as weapons or ammo on the ground. They fixed an issue where the character's footsteps couldn't be heard when on carpet. And the last one I'm going to get into here, they fixed the issue where a spot at the back of a truck and buggy would block bullets. But like I said, there's 69 total bugs if I counted correctly, so if you want to check all those out to see if your favorite bug is getting fixed in this patch, go ahead and click the link in the description, and you can check it out for yourself. But man, that is a lot of stuff packed into this patch. I'm sure absolutely nothing's going to go wrong with this patch and everything's going to be perfect, but you guys will have to let me know when you start playing this on the 22nd. How things are looking. I'm not going to be able to play it probably until that night, but I am looking forward to this update. One for the graphical options for the Xbox One X, I want to make sure that I put that on performance mode so that I get a higher frame rate at all times. The FOV slider for first person perspective I think is really important. I think it's going to just make the game so much better in first person mode. And of course, adding Vikendi to the game, having 4 full maps for a battle royale game is super rare. It's something that definitely makes PUBG stand out against other battle royales. And like I said before, I'll have a separate video going over the new ranking system, or the survival title system is what it's called. It's not actually, a rank competing against other players, it's just a rank for yourself, and you'll be able to compare with your friends to see how high you can get. Remember to follow me on Twitter and join my Discord, the links are in the description as always. Like the video if you found this information useful, and subscribe to stay up to date on everything that I publish on my channel. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I'll see you later.